Kia ora everybody, what's up? It is Robert. It is morning time, 5 hours ahead here in California, but COVID's making us pivot. COVID's making us tweak, and welcome to the Aotearoa Whiskey Club, but it's not me. I don't know that much about it. I'm introducing good friend, whiskey master himself, Mr. Sam Sneed. How are you, mate?
Good morning, mate. Well, good evening, good afternoon for you, eh?
Arvo. It's enough time for a quick little whiskey. So we've had a pretty interesting last couple of, uh, I'll give the quick recap. Launched Aotearoa Whiskey Club. Whole bunch of people keen. Our first tasting, which was supposed to be next week, was it this week? It was supposed to be this week.
This week, we're supposed to be having it
That's right.
tomorrow.
This week got shut down through lockdown, and then it's been pushed out. But potentially, and we were sold out a month in advance, which was amazing. But it potentially we might get skunked on the second one. And so, what is our news
Oh,
that
yeah.
we're potentially like? I know, but we pivot, we adapt, we overcome. Sam, nothing is getting in the way of us and our dreams.
We need the
So,
whiskey.
so the what is the news, Sam? Tell us what we're going to do.
Well, I think we're just going to, I guess we're going to wind up doing the whole thing virtual. It's looking like because with the way lockdown, even if we go down to two, we can only do a max of 10 people. Clearly, we've sold 90 tickets. We do, 90 people. So it's looking like we're going to get a first taste of what it's like to do a large scale virtual whiskey tasting. So that'll be our first one. And then I think we should follow it up with number two. We've already talking about doing a taste of Japan. Everybody's jonesing for some Japanese whiskey right now, and I've not seen any large scale Japanese whiskey tastings in a long time. And since I've got my hands on some of the famed Yamazaki 12, we might as well do that. What do you think?
So, I well the bit that we were kind of trying to figure out is if it keeps getting pushed and the you can't get together for a dram. Do you either push pause and never catch up ever, or do you try and figure a way in the mix? And then obviously with the Whiskey Club, we've got about I think there's maybe like about 500 or 600 people so far that's in the mix. A bunch of them all don't live in Auckland, and they all can't be in the same room. We obviously cap ours at only 90, which was obviously sell out. But the ability for us to actually get everyone nationally into it as well is going to be pretty cool. So I guess probably the main one is when we roll this out, we'll be able to do them all virtually for anywhere you are in New Zealand. So that's probably the first cool bit, and it means that we can just have more crew in it, right? Like that's just kind of cool. And then I guess the second bit of that is we've got the app that's going to be launching for us next week as well, the Aotearoa Whiskey Club thing. So there's a link below. If you're into whiskey, basically hit the link and you can check it out. And I think, we're thinking the 30th September? Was that what it was? The last Wednesday?
Yeah, that's if we might have to push it back to October because we've still got our first one to get through. So I wouldn't be against, moving it on in October. It just depends on how your schedule goes and what's going on here. I mean, I would love to be able to offer that one live as in person, with people there, and then also virtual, on the internet as well.
Like combo it up.
But I don't
It's
know.
doable.
Are we gonna be stepped back into one by the end of
Mm.
September? We don't know.
Well, it's just a bummer if you're planning it each week anyway, or each month, and then if it's going to yo-yo around, you can't do it. It's like stuff it. You either sit back and do nothing, or you kind of pivot and adapt. So what we've, I guess, done with is probably two things. One, we're going to be from next month. We're going to be setting up a whole bunch of kind of virtual memberships, regardless of where you're in Auckland. We're going to still try and do them in person. Two, probably the other one is the world record whiskey tasting. We need to try and make this thing happen. I know it's in February. We've got a bit of time, but we need to be aware that these things can be bubbling. So, good news for us, going virtual, app launches next week, and then we can start to get some more whiskey things rolling, which is,
Well, talking to the general public just now, we're going to need to be, we've got everybody's email address and their phone numbers and such, but we're going to actually need some physical addresses so we can mail them, the tasting kits, which that's what we're working on right now is getting our tasting kits, the boxes to send them in, to package them up in, and to get the vials that we can send the whiskey out in. Vials, that sounds a bit harsh. In today's virus world, that maybe
yeah,
wasn't the
man.
correct term I need, but
Well,
but you
I
know what I'm
thought,
saying.
yeah, man. Well, I thought it would be a good time to quickly get on, quickly say what we're doing, and just a kind of like real time pivot of a community, right? We can either sit around and not catch up, or we can try and find a middle ground and leverage enough technology. It's a simple, great way to do it. So, if you're watching this right now, and you're into it, click the link below to be able to join the Aotearoa Whiskey Club. We can then send you more info, and then you'll be away laughing with the whiskey master himself, Sam Snead. And then on the cool thing about the app for next week is Whiskey 101. I'm really actually excited about it. We can go through basically all the 101 stuff for everything. I'm pretty excited about that. You're going to be in heaven, mate. Just whiskey galore content. Just whiskey.
Yeah, well, that's my thing. I just finished that little bit this morning on Tomatin's broadcast or podcast. So yeah, it's whiskey's on the brain right now. We've got heaps of tastings coming up. I was supposed to have heaps of tastings this last couple of weeks, but of course this COVID lockdown again kind of thrown a spanner in the works.
I get it.
But like you say, we got to do what we got to do. Otherwise, we just sit at home and do nothing. So might as well get out there and enjoy. And I mean, I could have a dram in my hands. You got a dram in your hands. We could, we could be discussing that.
Sam, I'm genuinely excited. We've got the whiskey master himself, and then me. So I'll ask all the dumb questions, and then everyone else can learn for both of us. It'll be great.
Make me look smart. That's hard to do, mate. That's hard.
That's how it works,
that's
mate.
A tough job.
All right, leave it at that. We thought it would be good to just quickly jump on Aotearoa Whiskey Club app launches next week. Virtual tastings go nationwide.
Sign it up.
Hit the link, and then join us for a dram. See you, mate. Love your work.
Ciao.